As Donald Trump fights felony charges, one high-profile supporter of the Republican former president has been conspicuous by her absence. And yes, that would be his wife, Melania Trump. Although Donald Trump would have us believe that his wife was quote-unquote hurt after his indictment. Remember, in the sizable entourage that the ex-president took to the courthouse, a motorcade made up of about 6 SUVs, not one of them had Melania in them. Now, this absence has raised eyebrows among Trump watchers, and the problem is that Melania hasn't even released a supportive statement for her husband from a distance. If reports were to be believed, Melania is no longer in solidarity with Trump ever since he has been accused of paying hush money to porn star Stormy Daniels early in April. Melania was not a part of Trump's trial in April. His historic speech at Mar-a-Lago and also during his indictment in Miami. Melania's support for her husband has remained extremely private throughout his cases, and hence the question now arises, is the former First Lady really backing her husband, or is trouble now mounting at Trump residence as well?
Former President Donald Trump sat in a courtroom Tuesday to face charges against him for the second time in a little over 2 months. He pleaded not guilty to 37 criminal charges that he unlawfully kept national security documents when he left office and lied to officials who sought to recover them. Wearing a blue suit and a red tie, Trump frowned and leaned back in his chair but did not speak during the 47-minute hearing, which was closed to cameras.
I think it's a rigged deal here. We have a rigged country. We have a country that's corrupt.
It was a contrast to later in the afternoon when Trump appeared more spirited as he met with supporters and staff at a Cuban restaurant in Miami in an unexpected stop after his arraignment. Trump was allowed to leave court without conditions or travel restrictions, and no cash bond was required. The judge in the case also ruled that he was not allowed to communicate with potential witnesses. It sets up a long legal battle as Trump, the frontrunner for the Republican presidential nomination, campaigns to win back the presidency in a November 2024 election. Experts say it could be a year or more before a trial takes place. Trump's spokesperson and lawyer, Alina Habba, called Trump defiant and the prosecution by the Justice Department politically motivated.
The people in charge of this country do not love America. They hate Donald Trump. What we are witnessing today is the blatant and unapologetic weaponization of the criminal justice system.
Trump has repeatedly proclaimed his innocence and accused Democratic President Joe Biden's administration of targeting him. He called special counsel Jack Smith, who is leading the prosecution, a Trump hater on social media on Tuesday. Smith accuses Trump of risking national secrets by taking thousands of sensitive papers with him when he left the White House in January 2021 and storing them in a haphazard manner at his Mar-a-Lago, Florida estate and his New Jersey golf club, according to a grand jury indictment released last week. Photos included in the indictment show boxes of documents stored on a ballroom stage, in a bathroom, and strewn across a storage room floor. The charges include violations of the Espionage Act, which criminalizes unauthorized possession of defense information, and conspiracy to obstruct justice, which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. That is the maximum sentence he faces, as he would serve any sentences concurrently if convicted. Legal experts say the evidence amounts to a strong case, and Smith has said Trump will have a speedy trial. Outside the courthouse, a small crowd of Trump supporters cheered as he came and went, while others expressed their opposition to the former president and his actions. Trump's former aide Walt Nauta also faces charges in the documents case. Tuesday marked the second courtroom appearance for Trump this year. In April, he pleaded not guilty to state charges in New York stemming from a hush money payment to a porn star.
Let me bring in my colleague Abhishek Jha on this. Abhishek, is it really true? Has Donald Trump more reasons to worry than his indictment in the cases against him, felony charges?
Of course, it looks like Donald Trump has to fight both at home and on his political circle as well, where he's been indicted. He's been historically only the first president who is second time indicted, and then his wife or his political heiress, so to say, Ivanka Trump, is nowhere to be seen. Entire process of entire courtroom process, or even after that, when Trump went ahead and met with his supporters, waiting for him, and he gave a very fiery and very passionate speech. But since then, we have never seen Ivanka Trump or Melania Trump on his side. I remember throughout the campaign of his presidential campaign, or even after that, during his foreign visits or other social or political events, even Ivanka Trump was also a very regular figure standing by his side. But this time around, it looks like Trump uh, is kind of left alone to fight his legal battles, where Ivanka Trump or his family, his wife Melania Trump, is not siding along with him, because the matter is very serious. The charges against Trump are very serious. It's of felony. It's of sort of treason, that he had risked the entire nation security assets by keeping those confidential documents in a personal capacity when he was not the president. So clearly, the charges are very huge, and the political backlash that he's facing is also creeping into his family and personal life, it seems.
Also, Abhishek, what has been Melania's stance really? From the very first time when he was being tried for paying hush money to Stormy Daniels, from then to now, how has the body language, and we are far from talking about body language, in fact, because she's nowhere to be seen. When it is about the responses coming in from the former First Lady, how have they changed?
I think ever since that Stormy Daniel case had happened, the rift, at least in the public sphere, was very much clear, when we had seen very few appearances of Melania Trump, or Ivanka Trump for that matter, with Donald Trump in public spaces. And ever since this whole, legal charges of confidential documents being kept in private capacity, not as the president, has emerged, they have been seen even far and fewer. But what we are currently looking ahead is whether Mr. Trump will be able to gather that much of confidence or that much of support from his family, because if his family is falling apart, he will not have a very strong face to, go ahead with his political campaign for his presidential campaign, that is for 2024 election. So clearly in USA, we had always seen that any presidential candidate had to make a very solid family face, and a family person. I mean, we have seen it happening with Mr. Clinton, then George Bush, for that matter, Barack Obama was known as a family person. He's mostly seen with his kids and wife in most of the public appearances. So clearly, this is a huge uptake, that if you are a presidential candidate, and if you are coming from a good family, your family is very well united in solidarity of your campaign, of your vision,
Okay.
then clearly this sends a very strong positive message to the society and to the voters, that if Donald Trump happens to lose that sight of his family around him, then clearly it will have some repercussion on his political ambition or political campaign for presidential election as well.